way it works in Anderson County is it's easy to get the property assessor and the register, everybody mixed up. But basically, when you pay all your money for your taxes or it comes in through the internet of the state, everything comes through the trustee's office. That's the income source. Your property assessor just regulates and by state laws and does reassessment and figure out how much you owe, right? Register deed keeps your deeds right where they're supposed to be. And they all take in some money, but not like this. So in a given year, we're going to talk about that. We'll start with how much money do we take in Anderson County in a given year? Before we spend a dime, how much flows through your bank accounts?
In total,
school and everything.
With sales tax, total for a year, I've not sat down and figured up because it's up and down.
Roughly.
But right now we're taking in close to $4 million a month. Now that's not just county. Remember, on sales tax, everything comes to me, and then I divvy it back out to the cities
by ratios. But
yes.
The $4 million a month is just sales tax.
It's just sales tax, but it is for that is for the cities. That's somewhere between $4 and $5 million a month. Our sales tax, our tax roll this year was $59.7 million this year.
Sales tax?
That's property tax.
Okay, so now we're up to $100 million.
Yes.
So we got $100 million. Now, is that enough to fund? Now, remember, county's only getting about 4 or 5% of that 40 or 50% because they don't have all the kids, right? I mean, the kids get divvied up.
Well, what happens is it comes in and 50% of your sales tax goes out to your schools.
And the other 50 goes to general fund.
Then it goes to the cities. The appropriate cities that it needs, because all of it comes to me. Everything in the county comes to me. Okay. Then we have to divvy out, according to the state, what they tell us.
I understand. She doesn't get any role in this. You just do what you're ordered to do.
Yes, yeah. The state tells us what goes where. And then we divvy that back out. We wire that back out to each city a month.
Okay.
And then the county keeps its portion, of course. And then their portion goes to, in sales tax, their portion goes to general fund, and I think 37.5% goes to the road department.
So you got 9 to 10 million coming in a month, roughly. We're estimating everything here, nothing specific.
On sales tax a month is about 4 to 5.
But property, add to property, 59 in there and divide it, that's 5 more. So you're up to 9 or 10 roughly.
Yes.
Where else is money coming from?
Well, we get the, past year we received, money with the COVID and things like that from the
You got stimulus money.
Yes.
How much money did the county get in stimulus money? Roughly. Don't hold you to it.
No, I can't remember exactly with all of it that came in.
But there was
But a lot of times it is, when it comes in like that, it's earmarked. There's only certain things
I
you
know
can
it's
spend it on.
earmarked. Yeah, that's true.
Your property tax and things like that is divvied up.
Does Oak Ridge stimulus come to you, or does it come to Oak Ridge? City of Oak Ridge.
It goes to the cities.
That's what I thought. It's not like property tax. They don't divvy it up. You get the county's money. Clinton and Oak Ridge get their money.
Yes.
In the stimulus. Let's talk about something new. I was joking with you during the break that, we used to fight over a $7,200 car in the old days. Schools would come in and get tens of millions, and we'd be fighting in the general fund over $7,000, $8,000. Poor Rex Lynch is sitting there trying to find a way to cut $2,800 or something, whatever it is, when he was the mayor. And the commission, now there's just a flush of money. In other words, $9 million in the reserves. We were down to 1 at one time. And it all comes from the internet tax. So if you're getting you call up and you order from Amazon a $63 sweatshirt. That 2.5% of that goes to the local county or whatever that number is. Some goes to the state,
yes, and
some goes to the local county. But now we can tax everything because of technology. Does that money come in a separate income stream to you?
No, it comes in with the sales tax.
Okay.
It is in 2018, before the sales tax hit, the county was bringing in. It was bringing in that their portion was
not much.
Not as much. We've not hardly doubled in sales tax, but probably close to it.
The rural areas.
Even the rural.
Well, we built this sewer over in Edgemore, which I was part of the grant process to try to build up some business on Edgemore. We got a few businesses, but we got to get more sales tax revenue from non-urban areas to help the county.
Yes, when in 2018, the December amounts for 2018, which was my first few months in office, the total, now this is including the cities, we brought in 2.5 million.
Total countywide.
That included
You got
the
it broken
cities.
down? How much from Oak Ridge?
Oak Ridge, 1.6 million.
Now, see, that's over half coming out of Oak Ridge. Keep the General Sessions Court in Oak Ridge. We deserve it. We're generating sales tax, although people come from all over to buy things
Now
here.
it goes back to the city.
Part of it.
Part of it.
And the rest goes education split out.
Half of it right off the top goes to education.
I just want to point out that commercial
Yes.
real estate, sales tax, we get a jail, we get a few other things, but Oak Ridgers don't derive many services. We get ambulance, we don't have sheriff, but ambulance and jail services, not police services, are basically, so to have citizens, and I'm going to defend my court, to have citizens that can go to court here as witnesses, victims, that don't have to go to the county courthouse, that's a real asset for Oak Ridge. That's nothing to do with you. That's just, I want to get that in.
Just your opinion.
I just want to show
Yes.
we're paying all that money. I want to get a little something back.
Well,
for my
it does go back to the cities.
Yes.
The county actually doesn't get a portion of Oak Ridge's.
Now, sales tax, but the students.
It goes back to, half of it goes to the schools.
And the other half goes
and
to
the
Oak Ridge.
other half we actually wire back out to
That's
Oak Ridge.
correct. But
yes.
that means that the kid in Lake City School is getting a piece of that, and everywhere else, because it's 50% gets divided up.
It's divided by
Ratio of students.
attendance.
That's right. Everywhere in the
Yes.
county.
ADA,
That's right.
yes.
Okay. That's average daily attendance. Folks, when they start sending you texts and emails and say, please have your kid in school, that means they're counting. They're getting ready to count, aren't
Counting
they?
that day.
God bless it.
But the county, in 2018 in December, we brought in our portion before the schools got their half was $197,000, and that's not including Rocky Top, Norris, Clinton. But then in December 2021, the rural part of the county was $483,000.
Let me ask a
now,
question.
that's what the internet sales tax.
So if I live
changed.
in Beech Grove, or I live in Marlow, and I order a $200, $1,000 phone on the internet,
Yes.
and I pay $90 in tax, well, $25 of that was local option. Does that money go back to the county? They separate it, or is it just?
It goes. We
it
were
different?
told that it goes to wherever the shipping address is. It goes.
So it can differentiate between Clinton and Oak Ridge in the county.
Yes, and
That's
the
great
state
for
does
rural
that.
people. That's
We
great for
don't
rural
do that,
people,
but the
though. That's
state
great.
does.
So, internet sales tax seemed to go up in the fall last year, right? I mean, we saw a boom. It went from they didn't start counting till the middle of last year. Is that correct?
No, we started getting internet sales tax in, I think it was November of 2019.
Okay.
Is when we first got ours, because January 2020 was our biggest collection on sales tax.
Must have been some back taxes in there.
And we got, just the county portion was over $1 million.
Wow.
Yes.
So that was
January 2020 was our biggest. We was hoping it was going to stay up like that.
Yeah.
The finance director and myself, we worked closely together on.
You were looking for $12 million a year, not $5 million a year.
Oh, well, we were hoping. I kept telling my husband, I said, well, all of those fishing stuff he was ordering and we were getting boxes of every day. I mean, he felt like he was contributing.
Absolutely, you're right. That's absolutely right. So, in the end, though, it looks like $100 million a year plus some stimulus money, which was 10 or 13 or 14 million, a lot of money when
Yes.
you think about it. And that's been going into the reserves. And I mean, when you're fighting between 1 and 2 million in reserves on a general fund budget of 30 million, and all of a sudden you have 9 million and all this extra, people start spending. They get a little bit. They won't get that next year. It might be hard.
I don't
know how that works.
I don't.
So I was just kind of, okay, so you got this $100 million, you're distributing it all. People are paying their taxes. In the next segment, we're going to take a break, but in the next segment, I want to talk about how you pay your taxes, what constitutes you being late. I mean, my wife has a property in New River. I call you every other year. It's like $30 a year. Is that thing paid or not? But how, can we pay in advance? Can we pay back? See, most of us have mortgages. We don't worry about that stuff.
Right.
But a lot of senior citizens' houses are paid for.
They are.
This is one senior citizen's house is not paid for.
Yes,
and
mine probably
I want to see. You probably don't aren't the person really to speak authoritatively on this, but prices are soaring on homes and everything else.
They are, and what we're seeing is a lot of people from out of state are coming in here and buying, and where they're selling out in California or New York or wherever, they're able to sell a house that we might have here for, $150,000, and they might get,
Now, how do you see
$400,000 or
that?
$500,000.
How does that involve you?
Well, when they come in to pay their taxes. But most of those, I will tell you, most of those that are moving here from California and New York and New Jersey, they're tickled to death with their tax bill.
Oh, yeah, I bet
because
they are.
it's,
Can't believe it.
Yeah, they're like, I'm very glad to pay that. That's considerably low. But to us, that are still living here,
it's more than we're used to in the past. What about, and I probably won't have to raise it for a while with all the money we have in the bank, but we're going to have to pay raises. I mean, you can't keep people in this environment when they're sluggish and they can get $15 to $18 an hour working at Panera. They're not going to work for us for $26,000. It just doesn't make any sense. So I think we're going to have to give raises. It's tough to take those reoccurring expenses year to year out of non-reoccurring savings. You really need to have a consistent stream to have that. And we'll have to figure that out in the long run. There's a cost with all those advances.
Sure.
One government official who will go nameless, he is on your floor, okay, et cetera, said that the Chinese are buying property in Anderson County. Have you seen any of that? Where a Chinese company or Chinese people are buying up property in Anderson County and other places?
such as homes.
Yes. Or commercial business, but mainly homes. So the Chinese are coming here buying stuff. And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I'm a businessman and they want to buy, but it's interesting to me that the Chinese would want to invest in this area.
Maybe they are in manufacturing, but
You don't see any residential
I've not
stuff?
seen a lot of
But people mail
residential.
it in. Some people mail their check in, though, right?
They do.
They don't come down.
They do, and we have a lot that will pay
please,
online.
let me explain. I have no problem with the Chinese people buying residential property. I just thought it was an interesting trend that people are starting to invest from outside our area.
We do have people that are investing outside our area. We have people that are moving here. I mean, from
Yankees.
well, a lot of them are wanting, they're moving here because they like us.
Yeah. Where
we
does he
don't,
go?
yeah, we don't blow our horn at you every time you turn around, and we're,
We say grace
we're
and we
fairly
say ma'am,
nice.
right? Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
and we say bless you, and,
that's it.
we try to be nice.
We do.
And they like it here, and they love the
So many of our
the
old preachers that I
atmosphere.
grew up with in the 60s and 70s, all our parents were from the North because, Manhattan Project.
Sure.
They came here in the 40s. My mother grew up in Illinois, and my father grew up in Rhode Island. He was part of the Manhattan Project, came here in 42. He's a scientist and engineer and stuff. And so a lot of us didn't have, like you, we didn't have second and third generation Tennesseans. Like Judge Roger Miller's family goes way back with Miller's Restaurant and goes back, his dad was a mail carrier in Oak Ridge and his grandparents. But, my grandfather was a mill worker in Massachusetts and Connecticut. And my other grandfather sold cars in Illinois. It's funny. And my one grandfather was in the Indianapolis 500, first race ever. He was a pit boss.
Oh,
When
really?
he was in his 20s and 30s. Yeah, great history there. And my other grandfather played against Babe Ruth. So we had all kinds.
Wow,
That's
that's
how old
pretty
I am.
cool.
That's turn of the century stuff there. I mean, it's great stuff. Okay, let's take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about the office, the hours, and everything we can find out about the trustee's office. We're lucky to have her as a trustee, folks.
Thank you.
Ryan Spitzer has been a prosecutor in Anderson County since 2007, prosecuting more than 2,500 cases over the past decade. Ryan has been the Drug Task Force prosecutor for the past 7 years. Ryan donates time working with local nonprofits. A veteran, Ryan spent 6 years serving his country as an Army medic in the National Guard. Ryan is a family man who works hard every day to keep Anderson County families safe. Experience matters.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
This is my husband, Alex Hesse. Alex is about 2 weeks away from coming home.
I was point man in foot patrol, and I stopped on the bomb. lost my legs, my left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
Come on, Alex, take on this mountain. That's what this is all about.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex has conquered this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
Look at that smile! You did it!
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
This has meant so much.
Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hesse, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Roger Miller is a conservative and lifetime resident of Anderson County who has served as Sessions Judge since 2014. Judge Miller has adjudicated more than 30,000 cases, both civil and criminal, over the past 7 years. Roger is a graduate of Clinton High School, and he volunteers time coaching youth sports and serving as an instructor. A paramedic for 12 years, Roger worked saving lives at the Anderson County EMS, MedFlight 5, and Methodist Medical Center. In 2022, let's re-elect Roger Miller, General Sessions Judge.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or adult protective services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
Welcome back. Between the Lines, Thursday night, January 20th. Not to date us, but I'm with Regina Copeland, who is, you never hear about Regina, and that's because she does it right, and you don't have to hear about her. People tell me all the time, you know, I mean, Jeff Cole goes out and parks your car for you. He has to work a little harder, you know. He put your plate on. Remember,
Hey, sometimes we have to direct traffic at the drive-through. Me and him both has been out there directing traffic.
Yeah, and it's been a good year. I mean, it's been so much COVID, so many problems. Really, politically, there hasn't been a lot of activity, and except obviously we're in the 8-year judicial cycle where you get a lot. Tell me about, you have 3 offices still?
Yes, 3.5.
You inherited 3, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I have the courthouse, Oak Ridge office on Emory Valley, and then we have a north office. And when I say we, Jeff and I share the Oak Ridge area at Emory Valley.
That's very convenient.
It is. And then we share a building on the north end up at the Norris Crossing.
Yeah.
We have
where the voting takes place
yes,
up there. Yeah.
We have that office. And then, of course, my courthouse office. And then we have the drive-through under the Jolly building that we both try to
A lot of people don't know that
staff.
stuff.
They don't.
I guess the Clinton people figured it out.
Well, there's a lot of people that is now, since the courthouses went to the one entrance, we have a lot, seems like there's a lot more people using that one. And if they're not, when they're coming in, because of the one entrance now, they're asking. So I think that will get busier and busier as time goes on.
I'm going to make a couple of comments on the one interest. You know, obviously I have a lot of experience in the courthouse. One, I think it's well designed. It's very pretty. It's very spacious. Pretty's not the word, but it's well taken care of, you know,
Sure.
and it's just nice. It's a nice design. Number 2, I don't think the public is kind of frustrated by it all, I think, because they're used to something different. But to be fair and honest, when I was traveling in the decade before last, you know, 202 to 210, different county. Most people have one interest. There's only a few counties left that don't have it secured.
That's what I was
Morgan
told.
County's had it for years.
They said that we were one of the last, is what I've been told. I don't know. Said we were one of the last to go to the one entrance, and we do have some that are understanding about it, but then we have some that get frustrated because they're having to, some of them are having to park a little far away, and if they come in with a pocket knife or something like that and they didn't know they need to leave it in their vehicle, you know, they're having to walk back out to their vehicle.
And my problem is I keep parking up in the front, and then I get out of my car and I go, I forgot where the entrance is.
Gotta go all the way around.
I got to walk around the back and come on. I don't want to move my car, but that's just
Right.
being lazy, right? I mean, it's it. But I think security is important, and I used to joke all the time they put snipers on the roof. We hadn't had a shooting in 50 years, but you can't.
Well, I mean, I think that's where we're going, unfortunately. And we would all love to move back and have the Mayberry days, but
only in Savage Garden.
Unfortunately, right? Unfortunately, this is the way that, the direction of a lot of things are going.
Let me ask you this. How many people do business on the internet compared to 4 years ago? Are there more?
COVID caused a whole lot more to do business on the internet. And thank goodness we had our drive-thrus. COVID changed business for Jeff Cole and myself both. And lucky for us, both of us was already prepared in the fact that we had internet services already available, and we had our drive-through in Oak Ridge and the one at the Jolly Building. And we've seen those go up quite a bit. And I'll be honest with you, what I'm seeing is a lot of your younger generation that's coming on, they want to use the internet. They'll get online and pay. They don't want to come in. But your older generation that was used to going to the courthouse and doing business there, they want to do it in person. They want to pay their bill in person.
But as we phase through that, now here's where comes the key question. We're not going to need as much room.
Right.
And yet we talk about justice centers and we talk about this and jails and Oak Ridge. I just think that physical space, they're selling real estate in some kind of, like you can buy a drawing on the interstate and invest in it with Bitcoin and then sell it 20 years later because it's a piece of real estate property nobody else owns. I'm going, I don't really get that part of it. I understand it because I'm in the business world, but it's just crazy. So I'm wondering if this generation gets 10 years older, anybody even get out at the courthouse. So I guess capital investment from a county government firm would be better spent in security and IT security and upgrading technology everywhere than expanding physical space. That's just my opinion. It's not my job.
And I think some of it coming from a 911 world background.
Yeah.
We had hoped for a day that we would have a justice center, just because that it. Now I don't know how they feel about it now, but just because it gave our 911 a more secure location, it kind of put everybody there together.
You didn't like the 4-4?
You were able to lock it down. Well, we have both of our 911 centers right there close together. You have Clinton City right across the street, and then you have, and so when you have to evacuate.
I love that conference table. You cut that conference table up there and moved it out.
Right.
I guess the airways have left that in there or whatever. They've been there forever. But
yeah, they used it for other things.
Yeah,
so
they did.
I don't know where
there's call centers in there now, right? There's operators and stuff in there.
Oh, yes. That's the 911 center now, where that big conference table was.
Yeah.
That's where the 911 center is now.
That was a nice conference table.
It is.
I've been all over the country. That's one of the nicest.
And when I left, they were already starting to outgrow that room. And, you're just going to so much more equipment and UPSs that you have to have backups. And so they were outgrowing it already.
How many people worked for you when you took office in 2018, and how many people work for you now?
Oh, I've not done the math.
Just rough. More or less, same?
I have probably close to the same that I had. I have 7 full-time employees.
That's was
more, and I have 3 part-time. 2 of them are seasonal. They come and they work on an as-needed basis. And then I have one that I call permanent part-time, which is she works the same hours every week.
Yeah, she's working 24. She's going to work 52 weeks, not this time and that time. Yeah.
She does that position, works in the Oak Ridge office, and it out of the drive-through window.
She's great.
Out of that drive-through window, my employee handles. We do express services for Jeff Cole, which is tag, renewal.
And I would say that she does more work for Jeff Cole than you. Every time I go through there and get something, I think, do you get much trustee work here? Because all you're doing is panhandling for Angie over there. You know what I mean?
We do a lot of clerk business out of that window. Of course, in February, our heavy pay-in months. What a lot of people don't know is we also help Oak Ridge City. We take Oak Ridge City tax payments at that window as well. We do, and so we help them. So when I first came, it was a full-time employee down there and another employee that worked 4 or 5 hours a day, and then they had a manager. And so we've kind of, retweaked a few things there, and, eventually may have to put a full-time person down there at that window, just because our Oak Ridge office has gotten a lot busier.
We've had several officials on and will through May or June, and last week Mayor was on, did a great job. But Jeff Cole was on a couple weeks ago, and he brought his new specialty plates on.
Yes.
You can't do that at the window, can you?
Yes, we are doing those through the window.
Great. Is Angie still with Jeff over there?
She is not.
Oh, what happened?
Well, she got COVID, and then I think it was her parents she was helping take care of.
Oh, she's such a good person.
She was wonderful. And they live in Sweetwater, I think.
Too far.
And they needed her. And so she had to leave to go help take care of her parents.
What a great lady. She did such a good job.
She was wonderful, yeah.
Oh, she did. She was there. I think I bought a car in April or May. She was still there last year.
Yes. Yeah, she's not been gone too long.
Yeah.
And she was one of them. She done both. She worked for Jeff, but she also worked a little bit for me, too.
He'll miss her.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. But he's got some other great ones that's Angie was working with to take over, and Jeff has a few employees that are cross-trained to take tax payments for me, and then I have several that are cross-trained.
That's when government works.
Yes.
Cross-trained
we have
people.
To
we don't need to add one on each side.
At the end of the day, the funding all comes from the same taxpayers.
Yes.
So
yeah, I got you.
we try to be as efficient as we can and save, as much tax dollars as we can.
Yeah, you all do a good job.
Him and I try to work together as much as possible.
Well, the burdens on government are always the same departments. It's the large departments like sheriff and I say burdens in the sense of higher budgets, but
yes.
they provide more services too. So it's the sheriff, the ambulance. Those things are hard to stay on top of sometimes because and I just feel sorry for sheriff's departments across the state. I work with officials and all. Just nobody's working. I mean, when you got 150 people, how do you keep anybody in?
They're having a hard time, and then they went through so much with COVID, and then the other, a lot of the other stuff, going on, and it's just hard. And they're not some of your highest paid positions either.
No, it's gotten better. Paul White improved it a great deal.
It has, but
when
you think about
Paul.
yes. He's actually Keith's cousin. Did you know that?
I never knew that.
Yeah, Paul White and Keith are actually cousins.
First cousins?
Keith's dad and Paul White are first cousins.
Okay.
So.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. He's actually worked on a boat or two for us, but
yeah, he's good at it.
They have a tough job. All of our public safety has tough jobs. I mean, and COVID
that's why the people
hard.
understand how hard it is over there sometimes, and people understand that the city has staff people. You guys have to move on. I mean, like county commissioners and school, they got to do a lot of work because they don't have people doing that. They have to keep up with stuff. It's harder sometimes than being briefed by your city manager in the department. I mean, it's different. It's different. Cities have
tough sometimes.
It's tough. It is tough sometimes. Okay, so you got the office in Norris. You've got Norris. I say Norris, but the crossroads there.
Right.
What's it called? Right there where you turn left to go to Norris.
Well, it's right at the crossroads
next to the Mexican
of
restaurant, right over there. Yeah,
yes,
man, that's good.
We're right near where the old Hensley's grocery store used to be.
IGA, yeah.
Yes, we're right there.
How about the growth up there? I mean, just amazing.
It has. There's been a lot of growth up there, and that office has grown and grown. It gets busier for Jeff and myself both. I know, after the first of the year, we wanted to sit down and talk about some other things, maybe adding other services up there.
Which offices do you work closest with? Jeff, obviously.
Jeff, most definitely, because we do have.
You're both retail.
And we share the office spaces.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And we have the.
Your people in Oak Ridge do an excellent job. I always say it because I don't go to Clinton, so I did years ago.
And let me say, I have an excellent staff.
Yeah.
I can't brag enough about my staff.
Who's your chief deputy or number one person?
Janice Wilford.
Okay, I don't know her.
Yes. She actually worked closely with Kathy, which was the bookkeeper under Rodney.
Yes.
And she worked closely with her, and Kathy trained Janice, had been training her actually even before I came on. And then under Myron, she had worked closely with Kathy under Myron for that interim. But Janice does a phenomenal job. But I have a great staff, and we joke all the time because it doesn't matter what I ask them to do, whether it's vacuuming the floor, cleaning a window, I mean, whatever. They'll jump in with me and help.
Do you ever have somebody come in and say, "Where's Patsy Stair, O'Malley?" Or "Where's Patsy Stair"?
I don't,
it's been a while
they do.
now.
Yeah, they don't come in and ask where she's at, but they do come in and tell me how wonderful she was and how much they loved her.
Consummate politician.
What a good, friendly person she was, no matter where they seen her out at, and I think she went to every wedding in Anderson County at the time.
My father died of a heart attack in 1979. I was 27. I went to the funeral home that night, to prepare to receive friends. At 4:35, she's standing in 1979 in the back of the area, got there early, just talked to me and my sister and my mother and did everything, et cetera, et cetera. 21 years later, my mother dies in the hospital in 2000. We go down there, me and my sister. It's 4:45, and Patsy's standing in the back where she was 21 years ago. So we always tell that story. She was so good at it. And, Jeff and Gary have tried to carry on that tradition. But,
yes, they have.
But she was special, and she was. And there was a time when she was the only Republican in Anderson County as an elected official.
I've heard lots of stories of them telling me about her. And, I heard a lot about her when I was campaigning. Mm-hmm. Heard a lot of people still loved Patsy, and and I actually talked.
I liked Al a lot. Her husband, her second husband.
I didn't meet him, but I've heard wonderful things about her, and I told her kids. I said, "Boy, I've heard a lot about your mom."
What are her children doing? He went to Tennessee Tech and played baseball. The son.
Johnny?
Not the grandson, but the son, Johnny. You're a Clinton person, I'm not. He probably graduated in the early 70s.
I think he's retired now.
Yeah, I would
they
think
still
so.
live there, but I think he's retired.
Yeah, good fella.
Yes, all of her kids.
The grandson's a pistol. The one who sells insurance, he's a pistol.
Oh,
I don't know what he's doing
great.
now. Yeah, he is a good kid, isn't he?
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he still around?
Yes, yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah. I think he works for MIG.
Still over there with Bill? That's
I think
good.
so.
Yeah. He treats his people well. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole different subject, but he's done a great job. I'll say it straight up. What Bill Arrowwood and the Arrowwood family have done for our economy, both in Clinton and Oak Ridge, is unheralded, but it should be. I mean, you hear about the plants and you hear everything else, but Jackson Square was non-existent. I had a business there 15 years. It was non-existent. And their move and their migration, he's been there 20 years now.
Really?
And he's got 350, 400 employees there.
I don't know.
And they all spend money in the Oak Ridge and the Anderson County economy and could have gone anywhere. And I just think they're special over the careers, both the dad and mom and Bill and Bob. So thank you for all they do, right?
Yeah.
And you can see the numbers, revenue-wise. They create some revenue. They're good for the county.
Yes, they do.
Very good. All right, so elections are coming up, but looks like everybody likes what you've done, and knock on wood, won't have an opponent. You'll do fine.
I love my job. I love the people, love my job.
You plan on running?
Yes.
Have you pulled the petition?
I pulled my petition. I have not turned it back in yet.
Hard to get those signatures, huh?
I have all of my signatures, but I wanted to do a whole lot more. So.
It's funny. Getting signatures in January is different than getting signatures in June. I tell people all the time. Not just the 25, but people say, well, I'm going to go door to door. Go door to door right now. Let's see how committed you are.
I would think door to door. Well, I went door to door in the winter time when I was running.
I remember.
I had opponents. I ran the whole year, which,
you did.
I came out early too, because I did come from the 911 world, and I wasn't as as known as some other people.
But you played to win. You worked. It was like a bass fishing tournament. You were there.
I decided, and Keith and I prayed about it for some time.
It's important.
And I knew that's what I wanted to do, but I had to make for sure that I was 100% committed to getting it done. And because I didn't want to come in and half campaign, I wanted to win, and I felt like I was the right one for the job, and I wanted it. And So we prayed about it and prayed about it some more and prayed about it some more.
Never stop praying.
And so anyway, I come out one day and I said, Keith and I were talking, and I said, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And but I had to
and
wait
you know
till
when
I.
you're ready.
Yeah.
I had a call tonight about a person, I won't mention the name, out of this area, who's been coming to me for support and help and advice on running big judgeship. He called me tonight and he said, look, COVID, everything else, my family, very successful. And that attorney said, I've decided not to go run. I've been at it for 3 months. If you'll pay your contract, well, not necessary. But he just made a judgment decision based on his family and his kids and everything else. He's in his mid to late 40s.
It's hard.
He just decided. But those are the people I respect the most. I tell people when they come to see me and ask me for help, I say, the people that say no are the smartest people. Run away. If you're not all into it, then you don't need. You know how it is. It's a brutal business. They think sports is hard.
It's tough. It's not easy. It's stressful.
Yeah. But when you do a good job, it's worth it. And people reward you. People know.
Being around the people and getting out and getting to talk to people, I love that part. Having to ask for their vote, that was not that I didn't want it. I wanted their vote, but for me to have to ask them of something, because I was used to serving and doing,
a non-elected position, appointed position.
Yeah. But and I wanted them to have enough faith and confidence in me to know that I'd do a good job.
I don't think I've seen a calmer period of county history. That's what money will do for you, and we're very well off. We have some COVID issues.
And we're all trying to work really. We're trying to work good together. We try to. There comes a time where you've got to work together, and you've got, to make your county go forward and to grow and push forward. You just got to get together and.
What are you hearing on the partisan elections that everybody's this whole school board commission thing? It's like all your all's races were off the chart. Is he going to run as a Republican for county commission? Is he going to be an independent? Of course, these are your bosses in a sense, funders, and this person's going to run for school board. And I get calls, they're all angry. Why do you got it? It's like I made this up. I don't care one way or the other, et cetera, et cetera. But it's been interesting. I've never thought that county officials, I think Roane County's got it right. And that is, I think, most positions. Now, if you vote for money like county commission or state legislatures or school boards, I think partisan's okay because you're handling money and you're making decisions based on conservative and liberal spending. But the professional jobs, I never get it. I never got it. I don't think we need Democratic trustees or Republican register of deeds. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I live with it. I understand it because 40 years ago, a Republican couldn't get in the job, couldn't win an election. Now a Democrat has a tough time. The culture switched, right? So it's different.
And I think it does that no matter where you're at. I think it it goes back and forth.
Well, there's such a polarization, and that's my area, but between the southern United States and the eastern and far west, that people are just. It's almost like nullification. They just don't want to hear anything about it. And I'm sure they feel the same way there. So nobody's right and wrong. It's just, I guess there is right and wrong, but it's different. I'm not judging anybody.
And I think a lot of people, for the most part, if they know you and they know you've served them well and they feel like you're honest and you're a hard worker, and they know that you're going to work hard for them.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about your job. And you get to see the people, talk to all the people. And especially county commission part of it, because they get their neighborhoods. They can go out. So I don't think it matters as much. If people know you, they don't care what you are. If they don't know you, they're going to make an assessment on that kind of stuff. And I get that, but I don't know where that's going to go. It's be interesting this year. There hasn't been a rush of people to join the partisan races, so I'm sure there will be.
I don't know. I don't know about that part.
But you don't need to know because they fund you. You need to stay out of that. I'm just going to give you. That's free.
Regina stays in her race and she stays in her lane and she works. I have enough to do in my office. I can't get involved in what everybody else.
How about
does.
training for your employees? Do you get funds for that? State provided. Do you get to send your people to train?
We do have a budget code that we can do some training.
Is it all virtual now?
It is. COVID, that's something else COVID changed. But the good thing about virtual for the county and taxpayer dollars is there's more available to us now through CTAS and things like that as far as for our employees, I feel like. That and you save that travel expense because they can do it virtually.
That's right.
So you can take a class now for a whole lot cheaper online than what they could have, traveled to Nashville or Murfreesboro or wherever.
But there's also a social element of getting to see
There
the
is.
trustees from these other counties.
Now
and getting together.
we
I miss
still
that.
do those. I'm talking about employees. We still.
You still having your in-person meetings in Nashville?
Yes.
CTAS and all that
And
stuff?
it's good, I think, for those type to still get together because you share what's going on in other counties and what's worked well for one, and it may work well for you. You learn, you're able to discuss legislation, things like that that's coming up that's going to affect your, the trustees or the clerks or whatever.
Well, you have to lobby
yes,
for your
some of
positions.
that.
You have to call your legislature and say, look, this bill's good or bad. We don't
Yes.
need it in Anderson County because you can't let something that's going on in Memphis or something going on in Bradley or anywhere else, Sullivan County, dictate what's going on for you. It may be a completely different circumstance.
That's exactly right. So,
And we've had some good
those are
legislators here.
still-
I mean, we've been fortunate. They look after us, I think, and I think they always have, no matter what party they are. I think they've been both.
I think so.
We've
Yeah, I
been-
think we've
can't-
had
I have
some
no
good
complaints.
ones. Yes.
I can't. We got 1 minute left. Anything in the notes we didn't mention you need to mention?
I don't think so. I think we covered about everything.
Well, you're doing a great job. You got a lot of great people. The second floor is just well run. I mean, it's just a lot of good people.
I feel like we all work well together. Johnny, the property assessor, and myself, I feel like we work good together. I work some with Tim Shelton. He's phenomenal at his job, and I go down and pick his brain from time to time. And I think us as a government overall, we're working well together.
Yeah. I think so. I think it's been great. You get along with other counties pretty good? You work with others?
Yes.
Who's the trustee in Rome County?
Chris, I can't think of his
That's
last name.
okay.
He's new too.
What about Knox County?
No, I don't talk to the Knox County.
He just got an opponent. Well, thank you for watching Between the Lines. We're done for tonight. Thank you
all.
We appreciate you. Thank you, Regina.
Thank you, Alan.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
This is my husband, Alex Hesse. Alex is about 2 weeks away from coming home.
I was point man in foot patrol, and I stopped on the bomb. Lost my legs and my left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
Come on, Alex, take on this mountain. That's what this is all about.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex has conquered this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
Look at that smile! You did it!
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
This has meant so much.
Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Roger Miller is a conservative and lifetime resident of Anderson County who has served as Sessions Judge since 2014. Judge Miller has adjudicated more than 30,000 cases, both civil and criminal, over the past 7 years. Roger is a graduate of Clinton High School, and he volunteers time coaching youth sports and serving as an instructor. A paramedic for 12 years, Roger worked saving lives at the Anderson County EMS, MedFlight 5, and Methodist Medical Center. In 2022, let's re-elect Roger Miller, General Sessions Judge.
Ryan Spitzer, for Circuit Court Judge, is also sponsoring tonight's program. Ryan is a prosecutor and Army medic for 6 years and a